Hello 301, this is your Lab 6 Excel help video. So to create your graph for Lab 6 Isokinetic Dynamometer, you're going to use the Excel template that's going to be posted on the peach board. So right here, you're going to have these columns, right? You're going to have velocity, degrees per second. Then you're going to have velocity, radians per second, torque, newtons meters, and torque percent, then power in watts, and then power percent. So this is empty, right? And I'm gonna be filling it out. So please follow along. The first thing that you're going to do, right, is looking or watching your methods video, and you're going to record all the data that is posted on the screen, and you're going to record that on your data sheet, and then you're going to fill that out and come to this Excel template. Here, we're going to fill out this first column, right? That's going to be velocity in degrees per second. And so you're going to put 30, 60, 90, 150, 210, and 300. Then the next column that you're going to fill out is torque right here. So this is data that you're going to collect from the methods video, right? 193, 155, and so on. Then in order to calculate power in watts, this column right here, you're going to have to convert velocity in degrees per second to velocity in radians per second. So this is very simple to do. The formula is going to be highlighted right here, right? And so to convert velocity in degrees per second, you're going to input this formula, which is, it's very important that you put the equals first, right? So equals, you're going to write in capital letters radians. Then in parentheses, you're going to put the box that you want to convert to radians per second. That's going to be this one, 30. So I select that. It's going to be A3. It's highlighted in blue. Then you're going to close the parentheses, right? And put the asterisk that indicates it's multiplying times 100. So it is converted appropriately. And that is going to be giving us this value of 52.36. That means that the velocity is now in radians per second. And then to make the math very easy, the only thing that you have to do is with your cursor, you're just going to hover over the top of, this little corner, and it's going to change. I hope you saw that right now, from this white thick cross to this black, that one, black thin cross. Then you're going to click and drag all the way down to the 30 degrees. And that is going to convert all the values that we have right here from degrees per second to radians per second. So as you can see, in order to check that my math was correct, I can select this box and I can click on the formula bar, and that's going to highlight exactly what I am, the math that I'm doing. So again, I'm going to emphasize, you write the equals, radians in capital letters, then in parentheses, the box that you want to convert to in radians times 100, and then it's going to give you the value. Then this data on torque, you collected from the methods video, and we have to convert this torque in newtons meters in percentage, right? So again, I'll show you the formula right here. What you have to do is very similar to what we did previously. You have to write the equals so we can start doing our math. You write equals, then parentheses, C3, that's going to be this value right here, 193, the torque, divided by our peak torque. This is the formula we're going to use in gray letters. So we did torque divided by peak torque times 100. So over here, we write equals, parentheses, 193, that is our torque, divided by our peak torque, that is indeed 193 because this is our highest value, and times 100, right? We close the parentheses, we write our asterisk, and then we write 100. Now, what's very important here, and that's a pro tip to make the math easy on Excel, is that I'm writing these symbols, the money symbol before the letter and before the number. So that locks in this value in red right here, 193, which is our peak torque. So when I do a math right here, and I click again and drag all the values so that we do the math for all of these, and that saves me time, right? I don't have to write the formula over and over again. Instead, I can just click and drag all the different values, and that makes my time efficient, and I can do all the calculations without typing every single value in there. So to check that my math was correct, right, I can click on this box, click on the formula bar, and then it'll highlight this value, torque, 155 divided by the peak torque, which is this box right here, B11. It's locked in, so it's not going to move down like in this column. It's going to be divided by the peak torque, 193, times 100, and that is going to be our result. And so to check again the math for this one right here, right, it is torque 111 divided by the peak torque 193 times 100, that gives me the value. And now to calculate power, right, this was already populated as I was doing this column, but for this column, right, we had to convert velocity in degrees per second to radians per second. So what I did here, right, for power, the formula to calculate power in watts, it's torque times the velocity in radians per second. So radians, we already calculated here, right, in this column. The only thing that I'm doing then is on this formula bar, I'm writing equals torque 193 times the velocity in radians per second. So this box, I write the asterisk, this box, then I press enter. That's gonna calculate this for me. And then to make my calculations easier, I hover over the bottom right corner. I get this black thin cross. I click and then I drag down. It's going to calculate all of these for me. And I highlighted these two in yellow because this is our peak power, right? This is our highest power. And then this is our peak torque. That is the highest value that we got for torque. And then finally, for this column right here, this is power divided by peak power. So if I go to my formula bar over here, I'm writing equals, parentheses, the power, which is this column right here, right? I click, then I write the diagonal. I'm writing again this money symbol before the letter and before the letters. So it locks in this box and it doesn't move anywhere because I want to use this value, peak power, to make all the calculations down this column. Then I close the parentheses, right? This is very important that I make this calculation within the parentheses, times 100. This is parentheses, right? Multiply by 100, press enter, it does a calculation for me. Then again, to make the math easy, so I don't have to write all of this again for the second bar, for this second value. The only thing I'm doing, right, is hovering over, clicking, and then dragging down. And it's going to do all the calculations for me automatically. And to check my math, right, I have to make sure that on my formula bar, I have this value selected, power, divided by my peak power, times 100. And there we go. Now, to make our graphs, this is going to be very tricky. So pay close attention. For this, you're going to be creating two graphs first, and then you're going to be copying one graph into the other one to merge both graphs into one. So what do I mean by this? First, we have to create a torque graph, and then we're going to create a power graph. So to do this, I'm going to go to the velocity column, velocity in degrees per second. I'm going to click on all these values, click and drag, so I'm selecting all of these. And then I'm going to press Control on my computer. Holding the Control button down, I'm going to go over to my torque percent column, and I'm going to click and drag on all the values that I want on my graph. And then I'm going to let go of the Control button. After this, I'm going to go to Insert, and then I'm going to go to Charts, and I'm going to insert a scatter with smooth lines and markers. I'm going to press on this one right here. And this one is going to be my torque graph. All right. So we have one graph done. Okay, we have to move on to our second graph. That's going to be power. So for power, I'm doing a very similar thing. I'm going over this column. I'm clicking and dragging on all the values that I have here. And then I'm going to press Control. I'm going to move over to my power percent column. I'm going to click and drag on all of these values. And then I'm going to let go. While these two are selected, right, I'm going to click on Insert, Charts, Scatter, Scatter with smooth lines and markers. Click on this, and this is going to be my power graph. I'm going to relabel this so it makes it easier for me for the next step, which will be if I want to merge these two graphs, I'm going to have to click on my first graph or whichever graph. It really doesn't matter as long as you're selecting one first. And so the next step would be merging these two graphs, right? So I'm going to click on one graph, and I'm going to Control C. That's going to be copying this graph. Control C, I copied, and then I'm going to select the other graph, my second graph. This would be, in this case, torque. I'm going to click on it first, and then I'm going to press Control V to paste it. Control V, and that is going to give me my merge graph. And so I can get rid of this one. And the next thing that you would do is clicking on this graph and selecting on this plus sign and adding axes titles, and then you're going to add a legend too. So you're gonna let me know which line, the orange line, which one is torque, which one is power. You're gonna label the title of this graph. And then once you're done formatting all these, labeling, correcting the axes, the lines, which one's torque, which one's power, and you put the title. Once you're done, you're going to click on this, Control copy, and then paste it on your Word document. Please do this correctly, right? Label everything appropriately, and don't screenshot this and just put it on your Word document in your lab manual, because we're gonna find out. And yeah, that was it. Please reach out to your lab TA if you have any questions. Thank you for listening.